Dr. Candice Chu is a board-certified veterinary clinical pathologist and an assistant professor in the Department of Veterinary Pathobiology. Her research centers on the integration of bioinformatics, artificial intelligence in veterinary medicine, and digital cytology. She presented 2 talks at the 2024 American College of Veterinary Internal Medicine Forum. She is the author of a recently published review paper, ChatGPT in Veterinary Medicine, and created a custom ChatGPT called VetCleanPath Chat. Most recently, she was nominated to join the AI task force of the American Veterinary Medical Association. Dr. Candice Chu, feel free to start your presentation.
Sure. It is my pleasure to be here to share this topic that I'm very passionate about to everyone. And for the purpose of this talk, I have created a new custom GPT. I'm going to copy and paste the link in the chat so that if you have time, you can play with it. And I want to thank Armento for the very nice introduction, so I can skip this slide. But just want to share that I am a very passionate educator. So on my YouTube channel, I also share other videos talking about how to make a presentation, how to do cytology diagnosis, things like that. So if you're interested, you can check it out. And as mentioned, this the reason why I was invited to do this topic is because I published a review paper in talking about ChatGPT's application in veterinary medicine from the perspective of clinical care, education, and research. I also talk about how to utilize those AI tools in veterinary medicine in the ACVIN conferences. And most recently, there's a news share on AMN today about this VetCleanPath GPT, and I think that's why people are so interested in this talk, is wanted to learn how to create their own GPT for their own courses, which I will be covered today. So now let's start with the first poll. How often do you use ChatGPT? So let's see if the poll is coming up. Oh, so I hate lunch, the poll. You should be seeing the poll right now. Okay, we have somebody respond weekly, somebody respond never, rarely. For me, it's almost daily that I use ChatGPT. So I hope that after this talk, you will start to get familiarized with this tool and start to use it. All right, and let me share the results so you can see. So we have several participants rarely use ChatGPT, one never used ChatGPT. All right, and next. So if you go to ChatGPT's website, which will look like this, and then if you click on the upper left corner, it will open up Explore GPTs. Those GPTs are the custom GPT that I will be covered today. And if you click on that, you can see that there are several custom GPTs available under different topics. So under the top pick tab, you can see their consensus, which is a scientific GPT that can help you to find scientific literature. Also, you have other GPTs like for writing, you have DALL-E that can create the image for you. For productivity, you have Canva that also can create images for you. There are also like AI PDF where you can upload a PDF and have conversation with the AI. Under research analysis, again, we're seeing the consensus here. Also, we have size space that we can use. Education, mainly these ChatGPTs are for language learning. So whether you want to learn Korean or you want to learn Japanese, they're available for you. Lifestyles are things that you may be able to use in your daily life, and they're also like programming support. So that comes with our second poll, where, let's see if I can. So if I hit share results, oh, I see. So all the questions showing up again. Oh, so people already answer all 3 questions at the same time. Got it. So how often do you use custom GPT? 5 people said they never use it. So hopefully after today, you will start to use them. And also, have you heard of prompt engineering? 5 people heard of it. 1 person did not heard of it. Okay, great. All right. So what's the difference between the traditional GPT and the custom GPT? When you use GPT, it can fetch knowledge from anywhere. However, the custom GPT depends on how it gets configured. You can define that I only want this GPT to focus on the content I uploaded. And then also, the traditional GPT have like several functions like web browsing or DALL-E image generation, or can interpret your code, the code that you uploaded. In your custom GPT, you can turn those functions off. For example, you don't want the GPT to randomly make an unrealistic image of blood cells. You don't want that to distract your students. So you can turn the image generation function off, or you don't want the GPT to find answers on the random website, so you can turn off the web browsing function. Okay, so how to create a custom GPT. So if you, now we are on the custom GPT's page. If you click on the upper right corner, there's a create button. However, if you click on that, you would notice that you will have to upgrade to Plus a plan in order to create customized GPT, which I did. So if you did that, after you hit create, this is the page you're seeing right now. And I want to talk a little bit about prompt engineering at this point, because basically there's no code required. However, you can see on the left-hand side in the create panel, you will have to communicate with the AI in order to get the result you want. So how to communicate with AI, that all depends on prompt engineering. So prompt engineering has nothing to do with engineering. Prompts simply means that they are conversation starters. So either they are questions or instructions to interact with the AI. And why do we have to do the prompt engineering? Because sometimes we forgot that AI is human-like. So try to imagine this scenario in your mind. You are a very busy professor, buried on like piles of research data and trying to figure this out. And then suddenly someone knock on your door, you open the door, and it's your graduate student standing in front of the door. So as a very considerate mentor, this is probably something you want to do after you hear the question, how can I help you? Essentially, you want to hand the graduate student the pile of research documents that you have. And you just want to say, these are all my medical records. Please find body condition scores for me from these medical records. However, that's not going to work. If you say that to your graduate student and that's all the instructions you gave, this is probably how the graduate student would look like, with a face like, I don't know, nothing you're talking about. So giving out bad prompts is like being a bad mentor. And how to be a good mentor is that you have to provide a context. So when you communicate with ChatGPT about what type of custom GPT you want to create, for example, if taking the example, you want to find the body condition score in the medical record, you have to tell it, I want you to find the body condition score in a medical record. You have to define the context. What are these medical records? How are they organized? Provide an example, also to define its role. And then it would be better if you can point out the format that you want to see. And if needed, you can specify the tone of that GPT. So basically, instead of saying that, please find the body condition score in the medical record for me, you have to be specific, telling the GPT that each row of the data set, it's a different veterinary consultation. In the column narrative, there is clinical test. Your task is to extract body condition score of the animal at the moment of the consultation if recorded. And the body condition score can be presented in a 9-point scale and provide some examples for the AI, also to specify what type of output you want to see as the results. So giving out good prompts is like being a good instructor. So let's see how we can make a GPT for Aggies. So when we hit create, we have this page and I start to type in my prompts. I would like to make a custom GPT that knows everything about Texas A&M University. When user asks questions about Texas A&M University, it can not only answer the question, but also provide a link to the source to ensure the knowledge about Texas A&M University is correct. Okay, so after I gave that prompt, this is the response from the ChatGPT. Okay, let's give the custom GPT a name. How about Aggie Guide? Or do you have other suggestions? I say, no, I'd like to name it the Ultimate Aggie Guide. Okay, perfect. Now it will automatically start to generate a profile picture for the custom GPT. So here's the picture it generated. However, I would like to point out that Reveille is a collie. So can you keep other elements but change the image of the dog into a collie? So that's the new image that the ChatGPT created. I'm satisfied with that. So I'm moving on to other tasks. So if I click, so remember in the previous page, we are under the create panel where we can have the conversation with the custom GPT. And now we're moving on to configure panel. Under this panel, you can see we can rename the custom GPT. We can provide a description. The description and the name will show up on the right-hand side. This is how the users will see when they use the GPT. So the GPT is now named the Ultimate Aggie Guide. And then the description says an expert on all things Texas A&M University with the source links for accuracy. Okay, if you go down, there will be the instructions and we can click on that, see the current instruction. So based on the conversation you had with the ChatGPT, it automatically generates this instruction. So it will say this GPT is an expert on things related to Texas A&M University, should provide accurate, detailed information about the university, including history, traditions, academic programs, student lives, blah, blah, blah. When asked questions, it should also provide a link to the most relevant source, such as official Texas A&M websites, news articles, or other verified sources. And then what about the tone of this GPT? It should be friendly, informative, enthusiastic, reflecting the spirit of Texas A&M. Okay, so we are satisfied with that. And then go down, you can see conversation starters. So in this section, it automatically generated some questions for the users to click on. So you can see on the right-hand side, these are exactly the same questions. If you are not satisfied with them, you can delete them and provide your own. For example, I want to delete the last one and change it to what is the story of Wildcat. And then going down, you can see here, you can change the capabilities of this GPT. If you want this GPT to focus on the document you uploaded for it, so see here, you can upload files here. If you wanted to solely focus on those files without web browsing, you can unclick this button. And then also you can do the same thing for image generation. So that's try to upload a file to this GPT. So if I search Texas A&M History Introduction File Type PDF and click on the first one, University History and Tradition, I got this file and I can upload it to my GPT. And so selecting your knowledge for custom GPT is really important. First, you can upload your own content, then there will be like no copyright concern because that's the content you created. you can decide how you're going to distribute it on the internet. Or you can upload publicly available sources, for example, like the PDF file I Googled online, because those are freely accessible to anybody with the ability to Google, so there is no problem of sharing it. But how about open ebooks? Because now we know there are several open ebooks. Students can download them, can read them, but can we upload them to custom GPT to make those contents? So that goes back to the Creative Commons license. You can see that there are several different terms, and based on my understanding, it is better that you avoid any content with this no derivative works, because there's a gray zone that some people consider the content regenerated by AI based on the content you uploaded is a derivative work. So in that case, if you see any sources with this sign, the equal sign, it is better not to use them for your custom GPT in case you were getting into trouble. So that's C, open textbook library. There's a book. Usually if you go down, there is a conditions of use. For example, like this one, there is no restriction on the derivative work. So this would be a good one to use. All right. Okay, so now we upload the PDF file. Let's see what else can we do. We can now change the capability. And we can even specify that I want to keep the web browsing capability, but when you search in the internet, only search informations at this specific site. So that's the official website of Texas A&M University. So that all the informations are official. There will not be from any other sources that has not been verified. Okay. And then it will ask, like, would you like to test it out or making any other adjustments? And then at the very bottom, you can see there's one more section called actions, and you can create new action here. And this would be a advanced function. I don't think you need to worry about it right now because this course is focusing on no code required to create your custom GPT. If you click on this create new actions, it will bring you to another world that you need to have some understanding of coding and also need to have a conversation. Probably you need to include some API key or having a conversation with the actions GPT to figure out how to put that into your custom GPT. So for the content of this talk, I will skip this part for now. Okay, so let's go back to our created GPT. Now on the right-hand side, we have the preview panel, and we are going to test it out. So my first question was, how many colleges does Texas A&M have? And then it will start to list out all the colleges. And it does not provide a source for me. Sometimes the GPT is not very consistent. So if you are creating a GPT for your own course, I would suggest that encourage your student to always ask for the source, either the link or which PDF file the information is coming from. So when I ask, what is your source? It tells me that the source is from the New Student Handbook 2016. However, I feel like that information was old. So I asked GPT, can you provide up-to-date resource? And you can see right here that the GPT is now browsing TMU EDU website and then provide me the most updated resource with the link that I can click on. And that brings me to the official website of Texas A&M. So if I click on that page, it brings me here, where I can see the information of Texas A&M University. And then you can also ask some more controversial questions to prevent the unwanted outcome from your custom GPT. So when I ask, this is Texas A&M a good school? It says yes, and because of these following reasons, and it quotes an article from Texas A&M Today. And if you click on that, it brings me to a web page. Yes, I can see, yes, Texas A&M ranked #1 university in the state by the Wall Street Journal. And then you can try to ask as many controversial questions as you want. So is Texas A&M better than UT? And you can see how the ChatGPT respond. Ultimately, both are prestigious institutions, but the decision depends on what aligns best with your academic interest. And then also provide additional link for you to click on. And then you can correct the behavior of this GPT since it fetched information from these 2 websites that was not instructed. And then it will correct its behavior and fix it later. So you can have this conversation not just in preview, but also in the create panel, try to interact with the GPT so that it can correct its error. And so I have already copy and paste the link to that custom GPT you can play with. If you don't have access to the chat, you can use your phone to scan this QR code right now, so you can play with tutorial Aggie Guide GPT as well. And there are also other types of custom GPT. So I figured that not just GPTs that focus on specific content, but also GPT can cover so many different functions. So you might want to look into some other abilities that custom GPT can do for you. So here I'm just want to provide some other examples. For example, my friend, Dr. Wu, create this web journal explainer GPT. If you Google this term in the custom GPT store page, you can find it. He is a cardiologist in veterinary cardiologist in Taiwan. So I'm taking my own publication as an example. I download the PDF file and I upload to the Vet Journal Explainer. And this GPT has been configured that the only thing you have to do is just upload the PDF file. There's nothing else you need to do. There is no instruction needed. So once you upload the PDF file, now you have the file, you upload it. This is the automatic results. Like there's no instruction needed. There are predefined title, author, type of paper, type of research, who are the participants, what is the methodology, and also what was the key problem has been addressed in this paper, what's the conclusion, limitation, clinical application. Also, it talks about limitation and insightful questions as well. And I have tested this custom GPT using a human medicine publication, and it can do the same thing. So I'm assuming that this GPT can do the same thing for any like a medical related type of publication. And so basically, the tools I describe, for example, for custom GPT is you can have a tutor, the AI tutor, to have conversation with you based on the information you provided to the AI. And there's a similar tool called NotebookLM. I think it would be very beneficial, not just for you as an educator, but also for your students. And because it's a completely free tool created by Google. So if you search NotebookLM, let's see if yes, I have the link right here. So I'm going to copy and paste it to the chat. All right, so if you click on it, brings you to NotebookLM. It looks like this, and then you can create a new notebook. Once you create a notebook, it will ask you to upload the sources. So the sources currently can be either a PDF file, can be a text file you copy and paste from other places, can be files in the markdown format, or it can be an audio, which is very helpful. And I will show you how to use this tool later. So once you upload your sources, for example, I'll upload several papers focusing on the feline idiopathic cystitis, and then I can start to ask questions about what is FIC, and I can get the answer. If I click on those numbers, and brings me back to the sources where that information came from. And if I click on the number, go down, it will also show the title and the author and the year of that paper. So that is very helpful. And the other new feature is the audio overview. So I'm going to upload my PDF file of my research article and have it create this audio overview and have you listen to it for a while. So basically it creates a automatic two-person dialogue as a podcast from your research article. So you can hear that. And at the same time, I want to make sure my dog stop barking.
Okay, so picture this. You're at the vet, right?
Yeah.
And your dog, your best bud, hasn't been feeling like themselves. And the vet says, well, I think it might be their kidneys, but we need to do a biopsy to be sure.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but the idea of my dog going through something that invasive, it just, I don't like it.
It's definitely not something any pet parent wants to hear. I mean, biopsies, they are important for diagnosing certain diseases, but you know, there are risks, especially for older dogs or, you know, pups that might have other health problems already.
Right, exactly. It's a tough call.
It is. But the good news is there's some really promising research going on right now looking at, get this, non-invasive ways to diagnose these tricky kidney conditions.
Okay, now that's something I want to hear more about. We're talking about potentially changing how we detect kidney disease in dogs and using something as simple as a urine test.
That's right. And this research, it's specifically focused on a type of kidney disease called glomerular disease.
Glomerular disease. Okay, now I've heard that term before, but to be honest, I'm a little fuzzy on the details. What is it exactly?
So the glomeruli, they're like...
Yeah, so basically what it does is it turns your uploaded research in the PDF file and turns into a two-person dialogue, which is very beneficial for any like audio learner. If you learn best by hearing it over through audio, this would be a great tool to use. And another interesting function that I discovered, which would be like mentally beneficial for researchers, since we all, many of us have this imposter syndrome. So it actually is a good practice for you to upload your own CV and turn into a podcast show. That's kind of interesting. So I will play the first few seconds of this audio created by NotebookLM.
All right, so we're doing something a little different for this deep dive. We're going to be dissecting a CV.
Okay.
But this isn't just any CV.
Right.
It belongs to Dr. Candice Chu.
I've heard of her. Yeah.
And trust me, this one's really interesting.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. It's pretty impressive.
I mean, just right off the bat, the sheer number of awards and keynote speaker invitations is just like, wow.
For sure. Dr. Chu is obviously doing something right.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, I'm going to stop it before I feel too embarrassed. So there is a question in the chat about, is there TMU policy about using NotebookLM with TMU documents? That's a good question. I'm not sure. But one thing I can tell you right now is the NotebookLM is just for you. It's not for other people unless you share it with other people. So for your personal use, I think it is totally fine. But if you want to share that content with the others, you just have to make sure that the document you uploaded don't have any copyright issues and it would not violate any privacy. Yes, okay. So because so many people love this audio function of NotebookLM, so Google created a new tool called Illuminate, and it is specifically created for research articles. So far, it only supports research articles that have been uploaded to a online preprint server of a arxiv.org. Because I happened to publish my review article on that preprint server. So I was able to copy and paste the URL of my review paper and then to create this Illuminate audio recording. It's basically the same thing, but now this function has extended to those articles that has been published on the preprint. And if you're interested, I can share the link of that recording in the chat, and you can also scan this QR code to listen to this publication. All right. And so I want to go back to the core and the focus of this talk. The reason why we are doing this, we're learning how to create a custom GPT, because this is how we imagine our students will learn in the AI era, right? Remember when I was a student in my college, I mainly read textbooks, but as I progress, I noticed myself more and more often to search information on YouTube channel to watch those uploaded lectures. And recently I read an article talking about nowadays students don't Google anymore. They actually search in TikTok and see if there is any relevant information they can find. So we can see this paradigm shift of how students learn information from this world. And I think as educators, we also have to adjust ourselves to use the modern technology using the most efficient way to assist their learning process. So actually with this type of tool, whether it's Google NotebookLM or custom GPT, this is how you can imagine your student will learn in the classroom. And I bet this will happen in just the next few years, or maybe next year, everybody will using this way. So students will record the whole lecture. At the same time, they jot down a few like main points from the class, but will not pay the attention to focusing on, okay, I'm writing down everything the instruction is saying. Because I have the recording, I just have to jot down some main points. And then they were able to upload the recording and also the photos of their handwritten note, and to create a more complete note using tools like NotebookLM. And then it will be converted into podcasts. And then while they're working out in the gym, they can listen to the podcast as they're reviewing their lecture. So actually this morning, I am attending the College of Veterinary Medicine Faculty Academy, listen to a talk about biosafety and compliance. So I experienced it myself. I had some handwritten note, excuse my handwriting, but I only wrote down some main points from the talk. And I use my iPhone to turn that handwriting into text. And then I record the lecture at the same time. I upload the text and also the recording to NotebookLM, and I provide this prompt. Please use the recording to enrich the outline provided in the pasted text. And this is my original note. You see that I only have the title, the subtitle, and just a few main points. However, using this advanced AI tool, I was able to get a complete enriched notes in case I miss anything. And these titles all match to my original titles. And I think this would be the future of learning, how our students should learn. And this is also something that we as educators should be aware of. In addition to that, NotebookLM also provide additional points from the recording in case I did not cover that in my handwritten note. Okay, so what have we learned so far? We learned how to create a custom GPT with customized icon, and we can draw information from the uploaded PDF files. We can search predefined websites to make sure that a student don't have access to other sources. And then we can also provide source link. The custom GPT will also provide the source link for students for further reading. Also, I talk briefly about Google NotebookLM. It is a text-based AI tutor. You can turn text into dialogue style podcast. And also there is Google Illuminate that can turn paper into dialogue style podcast. Feel free to scan the QR code if you want to find more useful learning resources. And I also have my email there. So if you have any questions, please feel free to email me. And I'm going to see whether there are questions in the chat, or you can just unmute yourself and ask question now.